Modern macroeconomic industry operates on a strict linear loop. It's a take, make, waste mechanism designed to extract resources, convert them into consumables, and discard the remainder. This chart plots the Earth's finite ecological capacity against the trajectory of interest-bearing debt. Because the modern economy relies on debt-based fiat creation, it requires constant, accelerating extraction to service that debt. The financial demand for growth quickly breaks past physical planetary limits. We track the speed of this mechanism using gross domestic product. But GDP measures the velocity of extraction. It records the depletion of natural resources and social capital as positive economic growth. The proposed alternative is the regenerative industry. This is distinct from a sustainable industry. Sustainability aims to maintain the status quo and cause zero net harm. The regenerative model actively reverses the damage. It introduces a strict macroeconomic constraint. Industrial production must structurally yield a surplus of ecological and social restoration. A factory in this system is required to clean water, restore soil health, and build local human capital as a mathematical condition of its operation. To enforce this, the system translates the underlying philosophical axioms of Islamic economics, specifically Tawhid, or systemic unity, and Khalifa, environmental stewardship, into rigid, operational market rules. The blueprint for this architecture is the cyclus Nilai, or value cycle. It is a master macroeconomic circuit board designed to replace the linear economy with a fully closed loop. This circuit links capital, worker ownership, technological innovation, and monetary policy into a continuous sequence. This framework does not rely on post-production charity or isolated social programs. It is an integrated macroeconomic operating system designed to prohibit wealth concentration and ecological collapse at the point of production. To understand how this circuit functions, we have to look at the monetary engine powering it. This diagram illustrates conventional monetary expansion. When a central bank injects fiat currency into a generic market pool, that capital often chases pre-existing assets. The bar for asset prices spikes, enriching asset holders, while the line for real physical production remains stagnant. The proposed alternative is Universal Monetary Theory, Islamic, or UMTI. Under UMTI, sovereign liquidity creation enforces a strict supply-side peg. New money is tethered directly to the concurrent creation of new productive capacity. UMTI diverges sharply from modern monetary theory. A sovereign government cannot simply print currency until it hits an inflation ceiling. The state is legally permitted to create liquidity only when there is verified, measurable development in physical infrastructure, social capital, or ecological restoration. The framework makes a rigid distinction between productive and consumptive money. Capital intended to expand the physical supply of goods is cleared. Capital used to inflate demand for existing assets is blocked. This requirement mathematically rejects riba, or interest. Interest demands that the money supply grow faster than the physical assets backing it. By eliminating interest, the economy matches the volume of currency to the exact volume of real-world value. To manage this, UMTI utilizes a multi-tiered monetary stack. The first layer consists of fiat rupiah for general liquidity and digital rupiah for secure, frictionless daily transactions. The second layer is the bank emas, or gold bank. This provides audited, physical gold-backed digital instruments. It operates strictly for long-term value storage and international trade settlement, avoiding the deflationary constraints of a rigid economy-wide gold standard. The final layer relies on asset-backed sukuk. These instruments are utilized exclusively to finance large-scale, tangible regenerative projects with clear revenue streams. By anchoring currency directly to the expansion of physical assets and ecological recovery, UMTI restricts the creation of unbacked credit that fuels speculative cycles. With the monetary supply tethered to production, the framework requires specific channels to route that capital through the economy. The system dismantles the traditional binary of central and commercial banks. It replaces them with specialized institutions designed to enforce strict systemic accountability, or amana. One major systemic flaw in current economies is the innovation valley of death. High-risk, brilliant academic research frequently stalls and dies before reaching commercial viability because conventional banks refuse to finance unproven prototypes. The specialized bank Research and Innovation bridges this gap. It is institutionally mandated to finance the high-risk testing, clinical trials, and prototypes necessary to move an idea across the chasm into active industry. The bank operates on a royalty-sharing model. The financial returns generated from one successful commercial patent are legally mandated to fund the next generation of academic research. Oversight comes from the Central Bank of Universal Civilization. Its legal obligation extends far beyond mere price stability. It is directly accountable for maintaining ecological sustainability and equitable wealth distribution. To steer the macroeconomy without using interest rates, the central bank deploys non-interest instruments. It calibrates the market through strict green financing requirements and sectoral liquidity ratios. Public capital is raised through the Universal Civilization Exchange, or Bursa Paradigma. This market utilizes rigorous screening filters. Any company that relies on extractive practices or violates Sharia compliance is blocked from raising public capital. This bespoke institutional architecture actively forces capital to serve civilizational progress, preventing it from leaking into speculative voids or extractive dead ends. Once capital successfully flows into industry, the circuit dictates exactly what happens to the value generated by a single regenerative factory. In the conventional model, almost all surplus profit is extracted from the local production area and routed outward to remote shareholders, leaving the surrounding ecosystem depleted. The regenerative model structurally distributes that value added. The factory's output vectors split, routing portions of the surplus directly back into the local community, the workers, and innovation funds. This distribution is facilitated by 5 distinct tiers of ownership: private, community, state, public, and civilizational. By utilizing non-REBA financing and worker ownership models, the macroeconomic mandate aims to democratize wealth, aggressively expanding the active entrepreneur class to roughly 16% of the population. The government functions as a producing state, generating a diversified revenue portfolio from dividends on strategic assets and intellectual property royalties. This pie chart shows the reduction of the state's reliance on aggressive extractive taxation. Revenue is sourced directly from the industrial value the state helps create and maintain. The burden on state revenue is further relieved by productive walk-off or endowments. These specialized funds construct and maintain public infrastructure like hospitals and schools without requiring sovereign debt. By distributing equity across 5 tiers and diversifying state revenue, the economy mathematically limits wealth concentration while funding its own internal growth. When you pull back from the micromechanics, the fully operational regenerative economy functions as a single macro-scale engine. In the master circuit, Universal Institute generates knowledge, bank research funds the prototype, bank Paradigma finances the factory, generating output and restoring ecology. Dividends flow to the Dana Abadi endowment, routing capital back to the institute, completely closing the loop. This endowment guarantees that the surplus wealth of the current generation is locked in, legally mandated to fund the education, research, and infrastructure of the next generation. Science drives the innovation. UMTI finances it without debt. The regenerative industry executes the production while healing the ecology, and the Dana Abadi preserves the surplus. This dashboard displays the new metrics for a developed nation. We replace gross domestic product with exact measurements of ecological restoration volume, zero-interest debt ratios, and generational equity. Success under this circuit is defined by the volume of restored topsoil, the expansion of zero-interest productive capacity, and the scale of the permanent civilizational endowment passed to the next generation.